is just fantastic. Captain's Log, Subdate 211021.3. We've been sent a copy of something called the Prime Directive, which forces us to play nice with other civilizations, so we decided to dump it in an acid bath and move on. Welcome everyone to the exhibition of stupid people. Today we're going to start with Jaffa Cakes that was trending on Twitter. And no, for a change, people aren't arguing over whether or not a Jaffa Cake is a cake or a biscuit. It turns out there's more to it than the name, and it's entirely about whether or not it is taxable. Instead, we're going to talk about something connected to Jaffa Cakes that got someone fired from their job, because that happens. So for this story, we need Police Constable Chris Dwyer, 51 years old, who worked at the police station in Halifax, West Yorkshire. At the Halifax, West Yorkshire police station, they were running a charity stall that sold sweets, treats and soft drinks back in January to help pay for a charity trip to Uganda, no doubt in their efforts to find Knuckles. One of the many confectionaries on offer were Jaffa Cakes, sold by the box. Generally they retail for about 50 pence, if you catch them on sale. In other places, other shops, the price varies and goes up to £1. There is a correct way to eat them, and there is an incorrect way to eat them. If you're British and you love Jaffa Cakes, do tell me how you do it in the comments down below and drive up that engagement. For the rest of you, it's you take the chocolate and the cake apart. You eat the cake, take the chocolate off, and then you eat the orange bit last. It's amazing. Chris Dwyer, being a bit of a cheeky bugger though, decided he needed 2 boxes of Jaffa Cakes. So he went to the charity stall and he put 2 5-pence pieces into the charity stall cash tin to pay for the 2 packets of Jaffa Cakes. This has caused, no lie, one of the most pathetic storms you can imagine, because when a query was raised about underpayment, Chris Dwyer was subject to a misconduct hearing. When colleagues raised concerns about underpayment, Dwyer decided to first of all say it was a genuine mistake, but then he started to embellish on the story, and he himself, after a 4-day misconduct hearing, was given instant dismissal over 2 packets of Jaffa Cakes. This man spent 4 years working for the police, prior to that 25 years in the Navy, all gone over 2 packs of Jaffa Cakes. I know, this is Halls of Injustice worthy and a life sentence on Titan is appropriate, over 2 packets of Jaffa Cakes. But I felt it would be more appropriate to have it here because, really, you gave them 10 pence for charity which didn't even cover the cost of acquiring them. That says a lot, you cheeky sod. So next we're going to talk about bus lanes. For this we need Dave and Paula Knight, who received recently a bus lane fine in Bath, even though they themselves were not in the city at the time. Now it is worth adding now, for his birthday, Paula Knight bought her husband a personalised number plate, which spells out their last name, Knighter. What a lovely gift. This is important because when they received their fine, which came in the post along with some photos, they couldn't help but notice it wasn't their vehicle that was in fact photographed by the Bath and North East Somerset Council. It was an old lady wearing a jumper with the word knitter written on, meaning that it wasn't a car, but somebody that the camera had deemed a wide load. So initially they made the phone call to Bath and spoke to some lady on the phone about it. And initially they told her the fine would need to be paid until they had shown her or told her to look up the image of what the fine was for. And obviously, yes, they did in fact rescind the fine. The couple, the Knight family, are in fact going to get that piece of paperwork framed and hung on their mantelpiece, which they should. It's something to be very proud of. I am going to do an honourable mention here because I saw something else on the BBC that made me chuckle. To the poor gentleman who was in his back garden with a plane unloaded its brown rain. Usually it freezes in the air, so it doesn't splash everywhere, but not on this occasion. His garden was fertilised, His furniture was fertilised. He was fertilised. Chunky brown rain, huh? Chocolatey caramel goodness. So next we're going to talk about Doctor Who, the penultimate subject. We're going into the sci-fi area. Pearl Mackie, during the final season of Peter Capaldi's run as the Doctor, portrayed the first openly gay character in the show. Pearl Mackie herself coming out last year as bisexual. Not gonna lie, couldn't care less about any of that. It was during the time of Capaldi that I fell out of love with Doctor Who. It's why my avatar ditched the sonic screwdriver. I didn't care for it anymore. I was bored. The show had gone completely off the rails, and they've completely shat on all the canon to make way for, let's say, ideas that are being pushed as progressive, but in doing so tear down what fans loved the most about the show to make way for it, therefore compromising what made that show great in the first place. I have seen a few episodes of Jodie Whittaker's run. Some of it is actually not bad, but I won't deny there are many issues I take with it, and I'm very grateful Chibnall is walking away from the show and Whittaker is as well. Although, if I'm not mistaken, she won't be walking away for a couple more years yet, because of the special she is filming, not coming out until autumn next year. The subject of the regeneration has become one of those things now where it's starting to be pushed as an idea of, well, now we can have one of every type of person portray the Doctor. I had noticed debates where people pointed out if the Doctor regenerated and was trans, then surely by definition that regeneration was faulty. I don't care anymore. I genuinely don't. But Pearl Mackie thinks this has opened the door, because of the first female Doctor, to have the first female Doctor of colour, which they introduced in the show anyway as the alleged very first Doctor ever. Yes, it gets quite nonsensical quite fast now. But Pearl Mackie also believes that now this has been opened, Pandora's box has allowed for the Doctor to be non-binary as some kind of gesture, nod towards other communities. Now, I genuinely don't take issue with that, couldn't care less, because I actually agree with Pearl Mackie when Pearl says the Doctor generally hasn't really conformed too much, forgetting here that the first 13 Doctors were all male and white. And you have to really give that a moment to think about it before you realise I'm still right. So I guess my overarching point still stands. They had to really cock up the entire canon to make room for it. Another main reason I fell out of love with Doctor Who, though, was because it, while pushing the ideas of being new, innovative and progressive, was just regurgitating the same stuff over and over and over and over and over and over again, because it ran out of ideas. It took things that were good, and then completely dumped on them by watering them down. Take the Weeping Angels. In one episode of Blink, All My Life amazing. The Silence, 2 episodes ideally at most, and then ruined. All were ruined. Now they're just regurgitated bad guys that no one cares about. This show has the lowest ratings since 2017. No one can say otherwise now because I had people tell me the ratings were the highest ever. These are ratings confirmed by the BBC themselves. The ratings have gone down because the story is trash. If you want to appeal to a wider audience, why continue to alienate them so much? So with this, we're going to go to the final subject. I saw this via the New York Post, and others had shared it with me, where William Shatner became the oldest man to go to space, which does in fact mean Captain Kirk has gone where no 90-year-old man has ever gone before. Congratulations. There were 2 people who were not best impressed by this, because he took part in the Blue Origin flight, which is something Jeff Bezos is doing. And that's fantastic. I personally think it's incredibly exciting. Prince William, the Duke of Cambridge, future heir to the throne, believes that the focus should be on repairing the Earth and less on trying to find the next place to live, which is a remarkably narrow-minded way of looking at this. A very rich man is trying to get involved in the space race. Do you believe his responsibility is to repair the Earth? It is everyone's responsibility, and I will agree with that. But it's his money. He can do whatever he wants with it. Saying things like that just show how jaded you are to the concept. Although if Bezos invited you up into space, I'm almost certain you'd say yes. You'd probably ask your grandmother for her crown. The other person, though, is someone that has a bit of a beef, with Captain Kirk because of their time together on the original series of Star Trek. That being Sulu himself, being quoted as saying, "He's boldly going where other people have gone before. He's a guinea pig, 90 years old, and it's important to find out what happens." So 90 years old is going to show a great deal more on the wear and tear of the human body. so he'll be a good specimen to study. Although he's not the fittest specimen of 90 years old, so he'll be a specimen that's unfit. I'd like you to now find one, a 90-year-old that is a suitable specimen, i.e. the fittest, for a 90-year-old. I just want one. And Takai, you are such a salty little bish. You know you are. You've been salty for decades. Why don't you just do what you normally do, go on Twitter and say your usual spurgery nonsense, and entertain us. Something which, by the way, I should feature more on this week at Twitter, but I'm pretty sure you have me blocked, because you're a bitch. Anyway, as we're done here, I'd like to know what you all think. Please do let me know in the comments down below. If I don't see you on Twitch tonight, have a fantastic day and thank you all very much for listening.